From Nutrien Ag Solutions, I'm Senior Meteorologist Andrew Pritchard with your Canadian Prairie weather story for Monday, September 18th, 2023. We'll start off on this Monday morning looking at the satellite picture as the sun comes up, starting a new week. Still looking at an active Atlantic Ocean. We are quiet across the central U.S. into the Canadian Prairie with high pressure across the region, but we do have a push of jet stream momentum that is going to bring some precipitation to the Prairie and down into parts of the northern plains and the Midwest. We'll talk about who's going to be seeing that rain chance and who's likely going to be remaining dry as we go through this quick forecast video. Now, starting on Monday morning, some very light radar returns across parts of southern Manitoba. A lot of that probably not even hitting the ground. And then you've got some light showers in portions of western and central Alberta. Oh no, I've got a cricket chirping next to me. Apparently, this is a boring video or something like that. Maybe that's a sign. We've got some light rain across parts of western Alberta, west of Edmonton, and we'll continue to see some light showers across that area. We'll look at temperatures then on Monday morning. Again, near 20 degrees as you head down toward the U.S. border, and then a bit cooler across western portions of Saskatchewan into central Alberta, where we've got some single digits, some temperatures in the lower teens across that region. Now, looking at the last 7 days of precipitation, it has continued to be a pretty dry pattern across western Canada. Again, some spotty showers across southern Manitoba. We're seeing that early this week, and then as we head deeper into this week, we'll start to bring some precipitation chances back into the region. Now, this is the 7-day averaged precipitation forecast from the European ensemble model. So we're getting a big look at the theme here of precipitation over the next 7 days, and that is better chances for some heavier rainfall across southern Manitoba and far southeastern Saskatchewan down into the northern plains, the upper Midwest of the United States. Meanwhile, precipitation chances across Alberta and much of Saskatchewan continue to reflect the last several weeks, which is not completely dry, but most people likely going to end up dry with precipitation being isolated to widely scattered, relatively light amounts. Now, here's the jet stream picture that follows over the next 7 days. Getting started right now, you can see, again, weaker jet stream flow across the prairie right now with this larger, more consolidated area of stronger winds in the jet stream across the Pacific, pushing into portions of western Canada. And as I animate this, what happens is, let me go ahead and bring it back here to Monday morning. You see this first little wave ejecting. This is the one that has the light rain activity across portions of central Alberta on Monday morning. This wave lifts over the top of the ridge across western Canada. We get a little piece that breaks off across southern Alberta. This is tonight into Tuesday morning. We're now going to get some rain chances again across southern portions of the prairie as we head through the early and middle part of the week with this. But you see this kind of trailing piece is what I'm trying to say here of this trough. It connects with the subtropical jet across the southwest U.S. mid to late week. So this is Wednesday night, Thursday, and now into Thursday night. So now what we've done is we've kind of split the jet stream. We've kind of cut this upper level low off. And so, we talk about precipitation chances being the best, out ahead of our developing areas of upper level low pressure. We've got the winds on the east side of this are speeding up and they're fanning out. So we get rising motion through the profile of the atmosphere. We generate cloud cover, storm systems, precipitation. So by kind of not allowing this trough to just kind of as a whole move east across the prairie, keeping us in this area of lift, instead we see it break off. That low kind of connects with the subtropical jet. We get more of what we would call a cutoff low, or at least a slow moving, relatively detached low here across the central U.S. So long story short, we effectively put the best precipitation chances here across portions of the central United States, which they needed here, but I know we could use it across parts of the prairie, though we might as well keep the harvest conditions going. I don't know what your pulse is right now. If you finished up harvest, then you may be looking to just start getting the drought mitigated. So either way, we are going to bring some rain into parts of southern Manitoba with this setup. I'll take this a little further. This goes into the weekend and then early next week, and the reason I want to show that is because we've still got quite a bit of momentum here hanging off across the Pacific. And, I lose some confidence in the exact evolution of this as we get out to days 7 to 10. So it's very possible as we head into week 2, we're talking about a continued chance for some additional corridors of maybe some heavier rain in parts of the prairie that aren't southern Manitoba. So week 2 to be continued, but may not be quite as dry as the last several weeks have been. Now here's the precipitation forecast from the European model verbatim. Again, starting off with the light rain activity across central Alberta here on Monday morning. This is your Monday night. Your Tuesday morning, this little wave now is going to lift across the prairie. So central Saskatchewan, maybe waking up to some showers on Tuesday morning. This is Tuesday evening. Now Tuesday night, you see the first wave lifting northward now up toward the Hudson Bay. This is now as we get into Wednesday and Thursday. We start to bring this trough in, but we're breaking it in pieces. And so this is when we kind of open the door for some light, isolated, scattered shower and thunderstorm activity along southern portions of the prairie here, kind of along the U.S. border as we get into Thursday and Friday. And then the heavier precipitation comes late week into the weekend across southern Manitoba, maybe southeastern Saskatchewan here. So this is what the look is on Thursday night. This takes us into Friday. This is Saturday. This would now be Sunday. It is very possible that Saturday and Sunday ends up being rainier here across southern Manitoba. We'll have to watch how the exact evolution of some, moving pieces, some multiple moving pieces, kind of aligns here as we get to the weekend. So southern Manitoba, you're likely the biggest winner on rain here, but we have a pretty big spread here on how much we could pick up, but certainly looking at the potential for an inch or so as we go through the late part of the week into the weekend. Now, as we get into Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, that's how the week goes, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, this is when we see that next push of jet stream momentum. Could certainly open the door for some additional shower and thunderstorm activity, perhaps open the door for another impactful storm system or two as we go through the last week of September next week. Your next 7 days, so taking it through Monday, September 25th, this is what we've got. Again, the potential for some heavy precipitation across southern Manitoba. The further south and east you go, the better the chance for some soaking rain on the order of an inch or more is going to be. The further to the east that you go, the lower your chance for that heavy soaking rain is going to be. And across portions of Saskatchewan and Manitoba, it's very possible you get no precipitation over the next 7 days. And if you do, it's likely going to be a half an inch or less, probably talking about a few hundredths here, maybe anywhere from 5 to maybe 10 millimeters here. So again, to the west, lighter amounts. To the south and to the east, you get better chances for that heavier rain. We'll look at this another way, looking at the next 2 weeks. The probability of picking up a half an inch, I do the opposite here. So this is the probability of getting less than 1/2 of an inch of precipitation through the end of September, where you see the orange and the red shadings there. That's what we're talking about, a 70 or 80% chance of not hitting that half-inch mark. That means likely drier in the forecast overall over the next 2 weeks. As we look at parts of southern Manitoba, that's where you start to see those lower probabilities. That's a better chance of picking up some substantial rainfall over the next 7 days, again, across southern and southeastern portions of Manitoba. Temperatures over the next 2 weeks, we'll do a sliding 5-day window here, leaning warmer than average as we kind of shake this cooler air mass on the heel of the lead wave here. So getting into the first week of October, a big spread in possibilities here. This is a look at the European ensemble picture, the jet streams at 200 millibars. This is a very El Nino look. So again, we've got a strong jet stream here across the Pacific coming into portions of British Columbia and the Pacific Northwest. But the way that it kind of splits there, this is not a real wet look across the prairie. So again, while I continue to pump the brakes and talk about high uncertainty in the forecast as we get into week 2, as we get into the beginning of October, what I can tell you is that we don't see high confidence in a sudden flip to a very wet pattern or a very cold pattern across the Canadian prairie. So by and large, harvest conditions are probably going to continue to be favorable in most locations as we go through the next 7 to 10 days. We continue to look out into the horizon for that really, obvious flip to a detrimental pattern across the prairie right now. Just not seeing it. If anything, as we head through the end of September into the first week of October, my best guess is we're probably leaning a little mild and we're probably leaning a little dry across the Canadian prairie. Your next 10 days of high and low temperatures, Calgary, again, getting back into the lower 20s this weekend into early next week. Edmonton, you'll hang out in the upper teens near 20 through much of the next 7 days. Very similar here in Saskatoon, pretty consistent. Those highs right around 18, 19, 20 degrees through the weekend. Regina, very similar look. And then Winnipeg, 27 for the high tomorrow, down to the lower 20s Wednesday, Thursday, down to the upper teens this weekend into early next week. Again, that weekend into early next week looking to be filled with some opportunities for some rain that could be heavy in some areas. Have a wonderful week. I'll talk to you again next Monday.